Hi guys! Welcome to another episode of CBCPNews Conversations. My name is Nico Balbidina and today we have prepared a very fruitful conversation with a very good friend. He runs this advocacy na sobrang important nowadays kasi it is one of the biggest problems na usually we look over this. And it's very good na someone talks about this and someone actually runs for this advocacy. So, without further ado, let me introduce him. His name is Sir Joel Nava, and he's the convener of Autism Strong Philippines.
Yeah. Hello, good evening.
Okay, so before we begin, tell something about the cause, the Autism Strong Philippines campaign.
Yeah. Autism Strong Philippines campaign is more of an autism. It's a young non-profit organization where we focus on autism awareness. And it's more on promoting in social media, and we cater to colleges and universities and even mostly schools and workplaces, and we're targeting to persons with autism.
Do many people do this?
Actually, there are some orgs that promote autism awareness, and we're just new. We're just new, and we came out from our own pocket. Our funding came from our own pockets, and we just want to. It just started out as just a fan sign project, and it
grew from that.
It grew from there. Yes.
So when did this start ba? And what was happening when it began? What pushed you to start this advocacy?
Yes. Actually, I admit I was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome at a very late age. And I was being seeing a psychiatrist for ever since second year college, and at first I was pitied myself on how I want to make myself be a better person. But that fan sign campaign which I started last November of last year, and at first it was just started with pen, paper, cartolina, and permanent marker, and the rest I just want to share who do I know of.
Okay, go ahead.
And the thing is that I started with my church friends in a certain community, and I got great feedback. I got a lot of reactions in social media, and I was surprised that, hey, what if I want to start doing as a major project?
And actually, that's very good, kasi not many people do this for the people to be aware of the issue that is autism.
Yes.
And so far, what can you see? What do you say are the objectives of this campaign, of this advocacy?
The objectives of this campaign is we want to reach out to schools and workplaces, and something in communities, which we want to put our campaign there, and we want to also partner with other non-profit organizations to put our campaign there.
Okay, so so far, what have been the greatest struggles that this group has met in spreading the word about autism and about the advocacy itself?
Actually, like what I've said earlier, it just started out with just limited resources. It came out from my own pocket. We just only started with pencil paper, cartolina, and permanent marker. And at first I wanted to share it with my family, but they're quite hesitant on that. I ended up with sharing it with my church friends.
Church friends, yes.
Both in my home parish and in the community where I'm serving. And the rest, it was history, and they liked it, and I felt that I wanted to go more, that I want to reach out to students which cater to psychology and special education, and even inclusive workplaces.
Inclusive. Why do you think it is a very important subject nowadays to, well, especially to introduce this advocacy to schools and to workplaces? Why is it important?
Actually, it is important that it must be introduced to workplaces and schools because ironically, most persons with autism don't have jobs and they stop college. They only end up finishing high school or sometimes they couldn't study at all. I feel that this this is this is a challenging task for me for this group that we want to give them equality, respect, understanding, and love, so that we can so that you can be an inclusive society, Philippines.
Yeah. Can you tell me something about this group? I mean, it's very interesting for me and also, I guess, for our viewers that there's a certain group who works for this cause, no?
Yes.
It is very touching that people really care about the
Yes.
people who experience or even who know someone who has autism. Can you tell me about the group, about their age and about how you met them within the advocacy and how has the advocacy changed their lives?
Actually, I just started with me and my childhood friend, and we
That's
want to
good.
reach out with. His name is Raymark,
Mm-hmm.
and we both have the same diagnosis. We both see a psychologist and psychiatrist, and we want to inspire others. We just want to address it to students. We want to address it to our coworkers,
Mm.
so that they can understand what autism is and what we have done so far in the campaign, and we hope that it is possible that we can have a deeper meaning of autism, and they can deal properly with persons with autism. Because ironically, when they hear about autism, they might think it's as weird. They might be judgmental. But me, at first it pains a lot, but I treat it as a challenge.
I think
For-
also this is the stigmata that this campaign is fighting in.
Yes.
Okay. Ikaw personally, no? Ever since you started this campaign, and I also heard that you work in a corporate area, di ba?
Yes.
How does the advocacy apply to you as someone who works in a corporate job, in a blue collar job, and how has the advocacy helped you in dealing with the world that does not really know about autism?
It's at first it's a challenge because I admit I was unemployed for 2 months
Mm-hmm.
after I resigned from my previous job, both of my previous jobs, and I made myself feel better because I'm thankful that I'm part of the 1% that reserved for persons with autism or persons with disabilities. And yes, it's at first I really want to. At first, my major expectation for me is I want to make myself feel better by doing my work well, deal well with my coworkers and my superiors, and dealing with my clients, our clients in the company, so that it's a smooth sailing relationship. Yeah.
It's very nice to hear, that it works, for someone who has autism, and that you finally found a group that accepts you for who you are, even despite this, Now back to the advocacy. What can you give us something or a story maybe of the greatest successes of this group so far? Maybe one of your favorite testimonials that the group has had ever since.
Ever since ever since this project started,
Mm-mm.
I was able to give a talk in my home parish last May, and I was able to share my story in the community last July,
Mm-mm.
and the rest more on making partnerships with schools and workplaces.
How do you find these connections with schools? Do you go to the schools or
I
do the
write them.
schools?
I do write them letters.
Oh, okay.
Write them letters, and if they're okay with our advocacy, we can just
They
give
invite you
them
over.
give them a meeting, set them a meeting, invite us over,
Mm.
and give a talk sharing how our story started from our childhood days
Mm.
until we became successful with our work.
That's good. Can you give us some of the names of these schools that you have already visited or maybe have had partnerships with already?
So far, it's FEU Manila, St. Scholastica's College Manila,
Mm.
um, Arellano University Pasay,
Big schools.
Yes.
Big schools.
and soon we're going to reach out to high schools and elementary and high schools, especially public and private.
I think that's good that you're going to consider the grade schools, ano, kasi yun yung breeding ground eh.
Yes.
Kumbaga, usually dun yung at that age group yung crucial ano na
Yes.
malaman if they need the advocacy or not. For you ano personally then, your role in this advocacy, how has this helped you in a more personal level and how you treat other people?
In a personal level, I had to set a good example to not only for my fellow persons with autism. Like I want to treat myself as an ordinary citizen, as just a normal person, because autism is one way of making myself a unique person. And in fact, I don't treat it as a hindrance, I treat it as a strength. I'm thankful that I have a family, I have parents and siblings to support me with,
Mm-mm.
the co-workers that they can help me out with my work. And also I tend to step up in a positive way that I can make myself be a better person in my house, my work, and even the community.
So I'm guessing this is the story that you share whenever you visit schools and you
Yes.
talk to students. Usually, how does a conversation with the students unfold when you go to the schools? Paano mo sila kinakausap? Where do you begin? And where does the conversation go?
It's just more of an inspiring story where I was during my childhood days.
Mm-mm.
Started out from childhood days that I was being a victim of bullying, and I overcome. At first, it was hard for me to move on from the bullying, because there was an effect that made me push me to rock bottom.
Mm-mm.
But ever since I've been seeing a doctor, I've been seeing him quarterly, and it made me feel better slowly but surely that I made myself better, not only at home, not only in the workplace, even through myself.
Oh,
The
that's
change
good.
starts through me.
Mm-mm. I think it's a very good point no, that you said that you don't see your autism as a hindrance, you see it as a strength and as a blessing. And I think also that this is something that many people who has autism should feel and should know and understand. Uh, about the bullying, the issue of bullying has always been the problem, no? Not only in schools but also in workplaces. Ano?
Yes.
How does your advocacy tackle this issue?
This advocacy tackles this issue because we want to treat persons with autism with love, respect, understanding, and we want to give them equal rights. Equal rights so that they won't get agitated when the stress comes in, and just give them understanding so that they know so that they can still remain in the company.
Mm-mm.
And it is important that we should care for our employees, especially with persons with autism, because who knows, it might be a stepping stone for them that they want to become better individuals.
Mm. For you, what has been the greatest story that you've stumbled upon with this advocacy? Kasi, when just going with your story, na ang dami nyo nung pinagdaanan, you've been through many schools, and you've talked to many people, I'm sure. What is the best story that you can share with us about the advocacy?
The best story I can share is I find it is the best story I can share is more on what I have achieved so far.
Mm.
I'm thankful that despite of my weakness, I was able to graduate elementary and high school and college.
College, yes.
And I was thankful that I have a job 3 days right after my college graduation.
It's good.
And in fact, I was able to work, get income, and I have a support from, and I'm thankful for my parents because of the way they grew me up, the way they taught me how to be responsible also, and my siblings that they mentor me all through my life. Yeah.
That's very good, no, that I can say, no, that this advocacy did not really start with you, but it started with your family.
Yes.
And it grew into you, and it grew with the Autism Strong Philippines
Yeah.
that it is today.
Yes.
So what is your message to our audiences, particularly those siguro na not the ones who have autism, but those who care for people who has autism? Kasi they're usually right now, they're the people who usually don't know how to deal with people who has autism. So what can you say to them?
My message for them is it's time for you to step up and be a better person. No matter how the struggles that you are facing right now, always remember that there's a God who can guide you all throughout your life, and it is important that you do well, do your best, and be humble always. Lastly, strive harder. No matter, it always starts at yourself in order to become a better person that you are right now.
That's very good. And what can you say naman to people who is interested into showing support to this advocacy?
So, what I can say is,
Or how could you maybe invite our friends, who is watching na,
yeah.
hey guys, join us.
Hello, you may like our Facebook page called Autism Strong Philippines. And you can follow us also on Twitter, Autism Strong PH. And soon we're going to launch the project this December 8th. It might, who knows, you're part of our celebration of life, growth, and even becoming a better person.
Why should people support this advocacy? Why should people be aware of the advocacy in the first place?
Yeah. This advocacy means a lot for every person with autism. Not only for me, it's not only for my childhood friend Raymark, but also for everyone. Ironically, it's sad that autism is being degraded, but we want to make ourselves, as persons with autism, make ourselves better, and by striving hard, doing our effort well every day, and at most prayer and keeping the faith to God.
Okay, that's good. No? So yun, mga kapatid, we've had a very interesting conversation today. Some of the words that I heard today are very touching, especially for me who has a friend who has autism. And I think this conversation will not only help this cause, but also will help a lot of families who will listen to this conversation. Ano. Yung mga kapatid, it's also good no, na nasabi rin ni Sir Joel na sometimes things like autism, no, things like autism diseases that we see as hindrances can also be the strengths of people like us, no. Depende na lang din yan on how we see things, and it's also very good na we made it the point no, na there's always the faith, no, and it's also very important in the story. So once again, no, mga brothers and sisters, my friends, I am Nico Balbidina, and this has been CBCP News Conversations.